Hi, I'm Rob Namowitz, and I'm here to do an interview with Neil Wallace. I've endorsed him for the candidate for Supervisor of Independence Township, and I'm going to elucidate the reasons why I'm supporting him by asking him questions about why he wants to be Supervisor of Independence Township. A lot of voters don't really live and breathe politics all the time, and mostly they hear alphabet soup. They hear acronyms all over the place, and one that's been bandied about in our township is the CIA. Most people think the CIA is a bunch of spooks and spies, but we know the CIA is something else. Can you elucidate what's been going on with the new Clarkston?
This, the Sashabaw Corridor Improvement Authority really was begun under a prior administration. I questioned at the time its necessity. The idea there was to undertake projects that would enhance the Sashabaw Corridor, again to draw the right kind of businesses that fit within our community. The problem is that the CIA had scraped off all this money from the library, from fire, from police through something called a TIFA, a Tax Incremental Finance Authority, where they were able to take portions of those tax monies and put them in a fund, but they weren't spending them. They had just 3 projects to do and they weren't doing any of them. Instead they were studying. I pushed them, demonstrated to them that they had enough money, and so finally they did the landscaping that you see now along South Sashabaw. The other thing that's been going on for the last few months is that I've been working with the Township Superintendent, Bart Clark, to do infrastructure improvements on North Sashabaw from I-75 up to the entrance to Pine Ave. I'll always call it that. I know the official name is DTE. The idea is not just to improve that traffic flow, but also to finally get developed in the office and specialty uses the left side or the west side of Sashabaw. Again, and so what we're looking at doing is 5 lanes, sewer and water, lighting, and perhaps we'll use every other light from South Sashabaw and put it on North Sashabaw so we don't risk planes trying to land on South Sashabaw.
There's going to be a widening?
Well, a widening of North Sashabaw from the existing 3 lanes to 5 lanes. So you'd have 2 either way and a turn lane. And we think that left turn lane is what's vital to the development of the properties on the west side of the road. That and sewer and water.
There's a blog that you've been writing for quite a while called Our Township Matters, using the alphabetical letter R, Township Matters. Folks can go to that blog and go a little deeper in depth about some of the things that you consider to be very important in the township. Can you give our viewers just a thumbnail sketch of what they might find if they go to Our Township Matters?
Well, there's short essays, at least I try to keep them short, but they go more in depth than slogans or the things that come out at township board meetings, and it was my opportunity to communicate directly with folks how I feel about virtually every issue. I try to get, I mean, there's things on the hospital there's things on the CIA. Many of the questions you've asked me, I've put up my thoughts and reasons for my positions. It gives people who want the opportunity to see how I reach the decisions that we have to struggle with at the township board.
Now, there's been some chatter out there among the chattering classes that the board meetings are too long. Can you try to help people understand why it's important that the meetings be thorough?
Well, I think thorough is certainly an important point, and I've heard that chatter. I haven't heard any suggestions as to how you make them shorter. I wouldn't give up the citizen participation that we have. It's a tradition in this community. We're obligated by law to have public comment. But the tradition in this community long has been that when the board is on a particular topic, citizens are permitted to get up and speak to it. And I wouldn't want to give that up. I wouldn't want to give up the notion that the board should be having a robust debate and trying to convince one another. And I wouldn't want to see the board having all these arguments amongst themselves ahead of time, working out what the answer is going to be, and just reporting that in the meetings. So they take as long as they take. We've had some disruptive forces in the course of the last few years. Most of that's melted away by being diligent and moving forward. But there's a lot of stuff to be handled, and it really is up to the board to run the township. People wouldn't be satisfied if we merely turned it over to staff. For me, it is as important, if not more important, that people see the reasons why we decide what we decide, not just what we decide.
As we've been through the function and dysfunction of the last several years with the township government, who have been the allies that have helped you put the ship of state, shall we call it, buoyed it and put it more on a stable footing? Who have helped you out, and who can you look forward to working with in the future?
Well, anybody that watches a township board meeting understands the value and commitment to this community of Dave Lobemeyer. I think he probably is the best person to have ever served the township as a trustee in the time I've been watching, which began back in 1977. He's just terrific, and the difference is that he's there because he's committed to the community, not for himself. Sheila Vanderveen, while she was here, had that same kind of commitment. And Larry Rosso, who's been a quiet but forceful presence in getting things done, has also been a great deal of help these last 4 years.
But there are several of those people that aren't going to be running again. You're going to have some fresh people to work with, more than likely. What is supervisor, where is your intention to give leadership to the township? Where do you want to see the township go?
Well, there's a lot of answers to that question. One of the things what we've talked about already is reaching out and finding businesses to help diversify our tax base, but they should be businesses that fit into the idea that we are primarily a quality residential community. So that's huge to me.
Fit with the master plan.
Exactly. Another thing is citizen participation. I am really big on having, I don't believe that the 7 of us who are elected have a lock exclusively on what's best for the community or how to solve our problems. That's why I like citizen participation in a meeting. But I also, over the course of the last 4 years, made proposals to the board for citizen participation. We had the Operations Review Task Force, a group of business people and government leaders who looked in detail at our operations and came up with recommendations for how we improve them. We had the Open Burning Committee, which was a citizens committee. When Sheila Vanderveen resigned because of health reasons and we had to pick a new clerk, we had the initial look at all the resumes was by a Blue Ribbon Citizens panel. And then we also found that our cable station, which you're watching now, was quite the backwater. And one of the ways I thought we could improve it was to have a citizens committee take a look at our policies and procedures and the manner of our operations. And we're on track to make that much, much better. So citizen participation for me is another huge thing to continue going forward.
If you go forward with asking for everybody's support and their vote in the August primary, what are the main considerations you would expect a voter to make as he looks at your candidacy?
I think experience matters. There is, frankly, no one running for township supervisor that has the involvement and commitment to the community that I've had. I've been involved in all sorts of volunteer efforts. If you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you know who I am because I've been around and I've been heard and I haven't been shy about it. But also, none of the other candidates has the experience in township government that I have, having served 6 years on the Planning Commission back in the 1980s, 5 of those as a chairperson, even though I was the youngest person on the Planning Commission at the time, and then I've done 8 years as trustee. I also worked with Brooks Patterson down at the county. I did some volunteer stuff and sat on a committee there, and Governor Engor had appointed me to a state level board for review of local claims against the government. So I have the experience that no one else has.
Do you feel that that makes you best qualified to be the Independence Township Supervisor?
I do.
Very good. Neil, I'd like to thank you for sitting down with us for a few minutes to help our voters and viewers understand why you would be the best candidate for Independence Township Supervisor. We urge everyone to go out and vote in the August election. You've gotten a postcard most recently. If your precinct has changed, study that. If you don't know where to go to vote in the precinct election, you can call the clerk's office and find out exactly where you need to be.